Welcome back to another review of the Gilmore Girls. This is going to be my review of Season 1, Episode 16. It is called Star-Crossed Lovers and Other Strangers. See what they did there? And this is an episode directed by I think it's Leslie Linker Glinter, who I like a lot. She directed the pilot. And one of those really great TV director seems to have directed an episode of every great show over the last 20-30 years. So gotta love whenever her name's popped up. She is a bit of a ledge. And this episode, I think, really brings to a head, I should say, a lot of situations with the main characters, with their sort of love lives and where they are emotionally at this point. So it actually has a really nice opening, and it's the sort of direction I think that shows you that you've got a really sort of professional, committed director, because we hear this story being read out by Miss Patty, this romantic type story, and it turns out she's reading it out to a bunch of school children, but she's not actually reading a traditional romantic story. She's reading out the story about how the town Stars Hollow was supposedly founded all those years ago, 300 years ago to be precise, and that's because the town is celebrating its 300th anniversary in this episode. And it's an episode full of anniversaries because Dean and Rory are also celebrating their 3-month anniversary, and so that ties in nicely with the town celebrations, which are happening throughout the episode, and we see this festival taking place, and various sort of shenanigans and mishaps happen during it, which you would expect whenever there's a Stars Hollow event. But the direction at the start of the episode I was talking about is this sort of nice tracking shot that Glinter does with her direction, as you hear Miss Patty's voiceover reading this story out about how it tracks along all the various characters in the town and follows Rory walking. It's really nice bit of direction. And the other main plot in this episode is that Lorelai is sort of has to go to Friday night dinner on her own, because when Dean surprises Rory saying, "I want to surprise you, I want us to do something for our 3-month anniversary," then Lorelai is put in that awkward position where she has to talk to Emily and is expecting the worst, expecting that Emily, a stickler for the whole Friday night dinner tradition, won't let Rory out of it, and that Lorelai, by asking her, will be made the bad guy, but Emily has a surprise in store. Now, I'll say first of all that this episode subverts your expectations 2 ways, really. First of all, because it's actually Dean who remembers that it's 3 months since him and Rory started dating, and that it's Dean that wants to celebrate the anniversary. So a nice sort of gender role reversal there, because often in these things it's the girl who makes a bigger deal of a 3-month anniversary or whatever and wants to do something. But this episode actually tells a nice little story with Dean and Rory and where they are in their relationship. So the fact that Rory is the one who forgets and Dean remembers maybe is setting up some stuff for later on in the episode. Now, the other way it subverts your expectations. Not exactly subverts them, but I think maybe it obviously sets you up to think, oh, Emily's gonna give Lorelai hassle, but also then maybe Emily has something in store for us. And she does, as it's revealed later, she does have an ulterior motive. Although, what's funny about this is that she didn't know Lorelai was going to ask this. Can Rory get out of it? So it's actually a bit odd that she would say yes, oh that's fine, and yet have something up her sleeve. I'm not sure that quite sort of tracks. Unless I think we're meant to believe she just thought quickly on her feet. It's like, oh, okay, this works perfectly. But actually, one way I like to read the scene is that I think it was Emily taking the opportunity to sort of look good in a way, be the kind of not the stick in the mud, basically, that she would be up for it. It's like, oh yeah, Rory doesn't celebrate her 3-month anniversary with Dean all the time. It doesn't come up very often, so she should go out and enjoy it. And it almost makes Emily look good and maybe Lorelai look a little bad, because Lorelai was expecting Emily to be a stick in the mud, and it just puts Lorelai in a bit of an awkward spot. And I tell you what, Emily really uses that for leverage later in the episode. She really sort of twists the knife that time, just not very subtly hinting that, hey, like what, Rory has quite an active love life, and it's very unusual for you really to be celebrating 3 months anniversaries, that kind of thing, the whole shebang. But actually, I'll talk about Lorelai since I'm talking about her. The whole thing with Emily is that she's trying to fix Lorelai up, and she tries to fix her up with this real winner, this yuppie moron called Chase. His name's Chase. His name is Chase, motherfuckers. Can you believe it? And what a dweeb he is. He's an absolute nightmare. Not only does he look boring, he is boring. He uses, phrases like picking my locale. Locale, that pretentious phrase and word you use for location, or yuppies use for locations. No, it's location. And there's a great exchange because Lorelai sort of sarcastically says, yeah, I'd like to pick my locale right about now, and shoots a sharp look to Emily. And another thing I love about this scene is that Richard is clearly in full agreement with Lorelai that this guy is a total loser. He's so boring, so pretentious, and he's just shooting arrows at him as well through his eyes. It's a great sort of scene, and it's a great payoff for Richard and Lorelai from the last episode where they had a falling out, because later on Lorelai actually sneaks away, and the plan is to sneak like out the bedroom window, and Richard catches her because he's been sent to look for her. So he actually covers for her. He's actually the cool parent in this episode, because he says, no, Emily, she's not up here, and actually covers for her. So it's a nice little, because Lorelai mentions their fighting in the last episode, and it's Richard being quite cool about it. But what's sort of significant about that is that Lorelai drives back to Stars Hollow for the whole festival, shebang get together. And I think that again sort of shows you that her heart is in Stars Hollow. She rather than be at this excruciating Friday night dinner set up, she actually wants to be in Stars Hollow, be a part of the festivities, if I can say. At the same time, she's in an awkward sort of like go between Luke and his ex-girlfriend Rachel, because that's the other big plot in this episode, that Rachel, Luke's ex, suddenly appears in town, and it's at this like moment where Lorelai and Luke are again starting to bond, and Lorelai, they're sort of sharing banter over their cynicism for the whole town celebrate. Like Luke has this dig about, it's celebrating this sort of two people who probably never existed. I bet like a whole it was just like two drunken people who created Stars Hollow sort of thing. And it's at that moment where they're sort of having this laugh at the town's expense, where Rachel walks in the diner basically, and yeah, it's very sort of awkward. So if you had any doubts over whether Lorelai was carrying a torch for Luke or not, then I think this definitely confirms it. And there's some good stuff in this episode actually with Rachel and Luke. We don't get a lot of it, but what we get is good stuff, because it at least provides some more background for Luke. We know Rachel is a journalist, and that she left all of a sudden. They had quite a sudden breakup, and it clearly still hurts Luke, but it also further complicates the situation with Lorelai, and Lorelai doesn't know how to behave around them. Obviously, she's kind of doing her best to be polite to Rachel. So I think we see Lorelai is stuck between a rock and a hard place in this episode, because she doesn't know how to front up to that. At the same time, it seems like everybody else's love life is going quite well. Obviously, she wonders about Luke and Rachel, and if he still has feelings for her, which at one point he asks Luke about. Luke says he isn't so sure, but maybe there's something there. At the same time, there's like a amusing scene at the hotel where Michelle has a date for the weekend, and of course Rory's on her romantic like anniversary thing with Dean, and so some quite solid, interesting drama with Lorelai in this episode. It gets to the point actually at the end of the episode before Rory comes in and we have like the closing bit. Then Lorelai actually calls Max, who's been out in the wilderness for a few episodes now, and actually just gets his answering machine. And it's at this point that Lorelai, I did like a combination thing. Rory walks in and she obviously hangs up the phone, but I think this is foreshadowing where we're going to move with Lorelai next. But moving over to Rory's plot now, she lends Luke Anna Karenina, and that's another thing to point out, because Dean actually struggles with that. It's not his sort of thing, and she's talking about lending him the Mammoth War and Peace. But again, he says he'll give Anna Karenina another go. Maybe this is indicating that they're not quite right for each other. But another thing in the episode that I do like, another scene with Rory, is when she's at Chiltern and Paris, who has a brief appearance, is just being tortured by watching what's his name? Oh, Tristan make out with a girl in front of like her locker, and it's this really painful like moment for Paris. But actually, Rory comes good because she gets them to move. It's quite firm and sort of comes through for Paris, so it's a nice little moment for them. But also, I think it's the girl the girl Tristan is kissing who invites the gang, including Rory, to a party to like her. I think it's her birthday or something, or a party anyway at her house at the weekend on the Saturday. So I'm assuming we're going to go to that in the next episode, what happens at that party. And I have some memories actually of where it goes, if it's the party I'm thinking of. But it's just a nice little scene of Rory helping out Paris and their sort of friendship continuing to grow, if you like. So anyway, we move on to Rory and Dean's big night. They have like it's one of these nice romantic dinners, but a dinner that is still filled with kind of awkward pauses and just slight miscommunication. So it's going pretty well, but there's also hints that maybe Rory is holding something back, and maybe definitely you come away from this episode thinking that, well, the ending it really takes you there, but certainly these scenes sell that maybe she isn't quite as happy with how the relationship is going as Dean is, or maybe she just has a different feeling for where things are between them. But in any case, it ends with this scene at the scrapyard. Oh, what a romantic guy. Takes her to a scrapyard. But fair play to him, because it's actually because he's building her a car, literally. So she doesn't have to take the bus everywhere. And it's just a nice romantic thing, building Rory a car. Sort of building it up from scrap, if you like. They get in the back and they talk and they kiss, and it's going really well, and fair play. So that's a point in the plus column for Dean, because it's romantic. But then things take a turn when he asks her, or when he says "I love you," those famous magic words, and she's not quite as forthcoming. Let's take a look at this.
We're here.
We're where?
Come on.
Dean, what is this?
Okay, did you ever see Christine?
Yes.
Well, it's nothing like that. Come on.
You brought me to Beirut?
It's a salvage yard.
Ah, and yet it looks so much like Beirut.
Okay, here we are.
Wow.
It's a car.
It is?
Well, it will be.
When it grows up?
When I fix it.
What?
It's yours.
What do you mean it's mine?
I mean, I'm building it piece by piece for you.
No.
Yeah, I started with the frame. The seats and the windshield just went in yesterday.
You're building me a car?
Yeah, no, it's gonna take a while, but when I'm done, it'll be great.
You're building me a car. You're building me a car.
That's right.
You're building me a car?
I'm building you a car.
This is crazy. Why would you do this?
I don't know, you didn't have one.
You're completely insane.
What? I didn't want you wasting time on the bus anymore. I mean, that is very valuable time. We could be arguing about your ongoing obsession with very confusing Russian authors.
I can't believe this.
Do you like it?
Do I like it? Are you kidding?
Everything is clear in my heart.
I'll take that as a yes.
Take it, mister.
Come on, get in. I'll fix that.
Don't. I like it like that. This is amazing.
I'm glad you like it.
I had no idea that 3 months was the car anniversary.
4 months, you get a plane.
Boy, relationships sure have changed since I was a kid. I'm having one of those moments right now.
What moments?
One of those moments when everything is so perfect and so wonderful that you almost feel sad because nothing can ever be this good again.
So, basically, I'm depressing you.
Yep.
You're very weird.
And you're wonderful.
Everything is clear in our world.
Rory,
Yeah.
I love you. Rory,
Yeah.
did you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Well, say something.
I
Yeah?
love the car.
That's it?
No, I'm surprised. I didn't expect,
You don't love me.
no, I just have to think about it for a minute.
Think about what?
Well, saying I love you is a really difficult thing.
Well, I just did it.
And you did it really well.
What the hell does that mean?
I'm sorry. Please, this totally came as a surprise. I mean, with the dinner and the car and then I just need a minute to think about it.
This is not something that you think about, Rory. This is something that you either feel or you don't.
Please don't be mad.
Why? Because I say I love you and you want to think about it? I mean, go home and discuss it with your mother? Make one of your pro-con lists?
Not fair.
I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. I don't even know what I was thinking.
Dean, please, it's just not that easy for me. I mean, saying I love you means a lot. Think about it from my point of view. I mean, my mom and our life. I mean, my mom said that she loved my dad, and then...
You don't get pregnant saying I love you.
I know. I'm just confused. I need to... It's a really big deal.
Fine, come on.
Dean, please don't be mad.
I'll take you home.
Dean, tonight was amazing. It was perfect. Please, I swear, I just need a minute.
Whatever. It doesn't matter, all right? Let's go.
And I'll get back to you. Thanks.
Rory? We just broke up.
Well, I guess that makes Dean the MVP of the episode, right? Not. I was totally being sarcastic. You suck, Dean. What a monster, eh? He's just the worst. I'd given him a little bit of credit over the last few episodes, but what a nightmare. I mean, come on. Give the girl a break. You've been together 3 months and you expect her to come out with I love you. And you get all pissy when she doesn't. Come on, Dean. Oh man, he just acts like a petulant child in this. It's official. He is the worst. Dean, you're an absolute jerk boy. And you deserve to be dumped. Although I don't know who did the dumping. Maybe it was him. We don't actually see. I mean that would piss me off even more if it was him. But I think again it comes back round to the mother-daughter bond there at the end. Lorelai's there for Rory. She doesn't judge her like Dean did. She's just there for her. Dean, you suck. You really, really suck, boy. Okay, so that's pretty much the episode. It's an enjoyable, solid episode. Some good drama moments. I like the stuff with Lorelai and Luke again, and the sort of drama that Rachel adds to the whole picture. I have to say, Rachel seems pretty cool. I like that she wasn't just the sort of one-note villain of the piece. I think she seemed like a nicely rounded character, and you could see her appeal and she wasn't just cast as a straight villain. So that's nice stuff. I will actually say, speaking of MVPs of the episode, I think Lorelai has some beautiful pop culture moments. Now, I'll give Dean some credit for his Christine reference in that clip, but actually Lorelai still steals it, I think, with the Misery reference when she's at Friday night dinner joking about how the arrangements of the figurines have they're like all Kathy Bates. That is so great Misery reference from Lorelai. It's fantastic stuff. So that's the episode. Good episode, I think, for the most part. It's really got the season on track, I think. So I'll be back with more Gilmore Girls soon. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like and subscribe. You can also look me up on Twitter at Keith Beard, and also recently I've added a PayPal donation button link thing, so it'll be in the description of this video if you want to help me out with just as little money as you like, just a one-off donation. It'll help me out, help support the channel. That would be good. But yeah, keep watching Gilmore Girls. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.